Damien? All right.
Introducing Dr. Clyde Winters and on their name with some respect. Yeah. I think it's time for reality check. Yeah, reality check. Gotta get you back on cold. Reality check for the young and the old. Reality check. Yeah, the ill your soul. Reality check. Get ready for the show.
What up? What up, though? What up, though? What up, though?
Where'd I go? There I am. What up, though? What's going on, Dr. Winters? Happy Wednesday.
Thank you. It's been cold this week. You know, this is the first week that we ain't had below zero weather, so I had to dress warm, and so I had to try to find my my long underwear. Ow!
Do you call them? Well, I know you just called them long underwear. We called them long johns.
That's what I call them. Just long drawers, long johns. This is what we used to call it.
Wait, is it? Hold up. Long johns, long drawers, long draws. Is that this? It's the same.
Yeah. Something.
I was about to ask you where do we get the John from, but it's just nigga speak, you guys.
We just make up words all the time.
I love that. That's insane.
It is.
What's going on, Spirit Wonder in the chat? I haven't seen you in the chat in a while. Welcome back.
Is he one of your followers?
Yeah, he's one of my subs. Definitely.
What up, though?
Well, respect in the brilliant sphere. We have to reclaim in our time. Except not like Maxine Waters, not like that. We got to reclaim other things. So.
Because it's kind of interesting. This whole idea of biting a poison apple,
yes.
and I think that when we think about that, you usually think about Adam, you think about Eve, and so in relationship to biting a poison apple, this is kind of what we've become involved in today. What I mean by that is that this past election we chose the couch, and I'm happy for that. We didn't support the black woman who wasn't FBA, and the thing is, this is that it's almost like biting the poison apple. I mean, have we really bitten that apple? Have we really, in a sense, given in to that idea that we're free? And this is scary. It's very scary. And what makes it
go ahead.
What makes it scary is that for so long we've been trying to follow the European. We've been trying, in a sense, to save the white man. Save white civilization because we built it, and because we built it, we don't want to see it destroyed. But for once, in a sense, we didn't let people hoodwink us. We didn't let people, in a sense, lead us down the garden path, and we chose the couch. I know, family president. Why do he keep bringing this up? I mean, it's the same thing with people bringing up the so-called Super Bowl and what happened there and all those images there that I didn't really understand until I saw the videos the following day. Thank you, Dewan B.
Yeah, shout out to Dewan B for breaking it down all the way, old school Bobby Brown style. That things are repeated for lots of different reasons, right? And then I think as we get older, we come to realize that maybe we haven't quite learned the lesson yet. And then maybe that's the reason that things are so repetitive. And I'm gonna have to shout out Dewan for this level of understanding because, well, he does that card reading thing that people use entertainment purposes only type. And that card reading thing, it really, I think it can give you some insight into you if you are looking to get a more comprehensive view of you from the outside, because you should know you, like who you are on inside. And then you go like a doctor when you have something wrong with you, you tell them, hey, my tummy hurts, and then they start asking you a series of questions and tests, and then they tell you, oh, it's just gas.
But it's just like the birthday book. They back in the early 2000s, they began to produce these birthday books, and these birthday books would tell you what if you were born on a certain day, how you was, and it was down to the T. You could really start to talk to people. Those of us who used to look at it, then you would always ask people, what is your sign? And you started really seriously interpreting. That was just in the early in the early days when they asked, what is your sign? That was just a way, to get a conversation started. But now, because of the fact they've done so much research, when you ask, what is someone's sign? It allows you to be able to say, so she's like this. Oh, and so this is that. And so then, so again, in a sense, it gives you a false sense of knowing, even though it may not be true.
Oh, for sure. Because I think it's that sign thing that always gets everybody to discredit the accuracy of these things, because they'll say, well, I'm a whatever the sign is, and I'm not like that. So I'm going to give an example. And if you are this sign, don't take offense to this. This is just a stereotype. Mm-hmm. But if you are a Leo, then maybe you might be arrogant, right? But then the king of the jungle should be arrogant. They're a sun sign. In the sun, the sun is as arrogant as it wants to be, for an inanimate life force. But people will say, well, I'm not like that. So you can't use signs to understand these things. And I think that you shouldn't only use signs, but you can use them. I think that they have a purpose in some things. Most people don't have the time to do what Dewan does, though. So,
but like my wife was a Leo, and so my baby doll, she's to me she's very, very beautiful, and she's elegant. She's very elegant to me, even though she wasn't born to a rich family, she always carried herself with a lot of grace and elegance, and that in the old days you could talk about women who were ladies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Nowadays there's very few people who have that carriage, who have that character to be able to stand tall. But I've always been kind of people, because I was a Sagittarius, they always said I had to be a big hoe. So every woman I met, if I wouldn't have sex with them, they would get mad at me, because I wasn't living up to my title. You see,
that's and it's bad. We should not use people's stereotypes against them. Here's a big one. Scorpios are supposed to be very freaky, right? And then Roland Martin, he's a Scorpio, and I'm like, yep,
he's freaky.
That's it right there. Mm-hmm. So, fun times. But with the biting the apple, and it's not necessarily an apple as much as everybody kind of just conglomerated around. We're going to say and use apple definitively, even though we told everybody an apple a day keeps the doctor away. At some point, Eve bit this apple and everything went to shit. And I wanted to talk about this tonight because not only have I seen comments like in my comment section and it gets real biblical, and then I never know if they're referring to me, Eve, or if they're talking about Eve in the Bible. And then it's very maybe they don't like women. The person who's commenting these,
How do you mean it gets biblical?
they'll quote the Bible, and then it'll say she tempted by the serpent, and I'm like, yeah, okay, we're talking Bible stuff here, but I don't know how this relates to my video, to anything that I said, unless, I mean, some people just like typing Bible verses on their
But
video.
you know, when you study ancient civilizations, you find out that and the Sumerians said that man was made from the woman's rib.
See, that
You know.
kind of makes more sense. I mean, the whole rib thing is throwing me, because which came first, the apple, I'm sorry, the egg or the chicken or the egg? To me, we're in that type of territory, because if I came from my mom and you came from your mom and she came from her mom and they came from their mom, and it's all these moms, and it's not this surgery thing. We're not taking ribs out, and we're not molding people out of clay from the earth and stuff like this, putting them in a kiln, and then they.
But see, but we had to create patriarchy because you scare us, and you can't get away from the fact is that I'm the hunter. As a hunter, I know that anything that I shoot that bleeds will die. But woman is the only one, in a sense, who can bleed and doesn't die. Woman in a sense is the only one that has a regular cycle, so that she can tell the days of the week, and she can tell the days of the months of the year. And so then therefore everything was based upon the female spirit. And that was scary to some men, because see, some men in a sense felt that I'll be damned if my mama can run me and then my wife gonna run me too. We have to have patriarchy. So patriarchy came in response to some people, in a sense, that didn't want to have women to have any say so, especially the Indo-European, the white man. Because see, the white man, he saw a woman, a woman was just as good as a sheep, because see, the only thing is that she was good for, in terms of the Indo-European, was someone to have sex with, But I mean, she was just as good as a sheep. A sheep would do just as well, And so then it's but this is very important. And so we think about this whole idea of biting a poison apple, especially in this day and age. It's kind of scary, because see, when you're talking about biting a poison apple in these times, and you're talking about what do we do as FBA? What are we about? How do we in a sense give ourselves that foundation? How are we able, in a sense, to move forward in these times in a sense of stress? Because see, just like a lot of the people when they started when Trump got in, and a lot of black people said, okay, I didn't vote for Trump, but Trump is going to help get rid of the the illegal aliens.
Right.
And then people said, no, that's a human rights issue. No, it's not a human rights issue.
No.
You see,
it's pretty cut and dry issue when you think about it. And I am so disappointed that it took a racist to get back into office to tell everybody some of these things, because I don't care for Trump, because, well, I don't know him. I don't like the popularity aspect of people liking their politician. Can you do the job? Are you going to have policies that are going to mess me and my family up indefinitely, in perpetuity, forever and ever and ever? Because we've been there. We don't want to go back there. And then people use semantics to try to move people to their side of the argument. And, well, if we're going to play the semantics game, then maybe that's the poison apple. And then, damn, if FBA didn't bite the poison apple, and every other Black group in our country has something to say about it, they're mad that we've woken up. How dare you bite that apple and decide that you want to put on clothes? We all used to be naked around here, and we all used to be uncomfortable. And now you've got a level of protection that we don't have. And I didn't even think about it like this until you said what you said. So thank you for that new thought. And I just, well, I'm proud of us for for taking that step, being brave enough to bite the apple.
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of shit that comes with that, taking the first step, responsibility wise.
right, because see, it's just like the first time you didn't vote. I remember years ago when I decided I wasn't going to vote, Democratic, and when I decided I was going to sit on the couch, and you do not, man, you cannot imagine how hard it was. It was so hard because it had been, because I'd only started voting, because hey, that was what black people should do.
Right.
And then when the first time I didn't vote for a president, damn, it was very emotional. It was very upsetting. It was very, I couldn't hardly take it. And I almost couldn't look at other black people in the face. I was teaching, I'm going to school, I'm going to work and all the black, yeah, we got to get that Republican in there out. We got to get that Democrat in. We got to vote for the Republican. And then I'm walking around saying to myself, damn, do they know I didn't vote? Will I be attacked? Because see, I was working around black folk, living in the black community, and we had, in the 60s, we decided that the Democrat was the thing. And then just the idea of not voting, this hurt me a lot. It probably didn't affect you too much. I don't know. But I felt like an enemy to the state. I felt like, in a sense, that I was no longer, I felt I was no longer, in a sense, a real brother from the hood, because I had dared not to vote. And this was something that this whole idea that they had taught you all that stuff, people died for a vote. And I didn't ever see no damn body dying for a vote. But that's what they always said. Then people got their ass beat on the bridge and stuff. And so, but then after I didn't vote that one time, hey, it was easier the next time, and the next time, and the next time.
It is like riding a bike, and then maybe you've not done it for a long time, or maybe you backpedaled, but if you've done it once, you can do it again. It's funny that you said that. I think it was the second time Obama was in office, or I'm sorry, running for office, and I did not vote for him, but I did act like I voted for somebody, and I had a sticker, and I definitely took off. And when I went to work the next day, they asked me, oh, how was the polls? And it was so long. The lines were so long. And the lines were long. I just wasn't in them at all.
Yeah.
I was kind of uncomfortable taking that stand. But then I also thought, if I don't say I voted, are they gonna let me go home early? Like,
when it comes to Obama, I was ashamed then, because when it came to Obama, my wife said, I'm not voting for him. I'm not voting for him. I'm not voting for him. And so, because I said, okay, baby, it's we would always get up, because we had to drive back into the city to vote, because we were living in our second home. So we'd have to drive back in the city. She said, you can drive in. I'm not voting for that man. And so she refused to vote for him twice. And the thing is that she said he's no good. And that was the way my wife was. So my wife made up her mind. You couldn't change her mind. You could maybe try to beat her with a stick. You could maybe put a gun to her head. But if she made up her mind she wasn't going to do something, that was it. And so then, but I was kind of flaky. Come on, we got to support him. Yeah, he seems like an Uncle Tom, but we still got to do this. He gonna do something, because we was all expecting him to do something that second term. He's gonna really show. But it was good that we had him in there, because that's what helped us not to really support Kamala Harris, because we know that these tethers, they're not going to support us, but they don't want to have an FBA as president or vice president, because see they're afraid that an FBA might get in there and might do the right thing, or do what we feel is the right thing. You're laughing. Why?
because we are the moral compass of America, and I think maybe of the world. The way that other melanated groups look at how we've persevered and then can decide to do something different now. And then maybe it's just my ignorance of some of these fights that people across the diaspora have been having. But like, I love Julius Malema's energy. I don't know him, right? But he's South African. I'm sorry. Yeah. No. Where?
Yeah, he's I think he's down there somewhere in Southern Africa.
Wherever he is, he's over where he's supposed to be, right? And he's talking very, very loud and proud about what needs to happen in his homeland. And I like that. I just don't know that I'd ever seen it. And I don't know why I keep relating him to South Africa. So if that's wrong, that's my bad. But I'm saying South Africa with apartheid for as long as it's had apartheid, Elon Musk with his wealth. I've seen them putting people in boxes in 2024, like viral videos of just mistreating the workers that are probably enslaved people, but not chattel slavery. You know, it's still very different things going on. And I don't want people to think that I'm not sensitive to what is happening. I just think that priorities are pretty narrow.
What it is that we were the only Pan-Africanists. You know, I'm a Pan-African realist.
Right.
And a Pan-African realist is someone who recognizes that Black people are one, but also recognize in the sense that we have to delineate that Black people have different attitudes in America and different attitudes around the world. So I'm a Pan-African, realist. By the fact that I describe myself as a foundational Black American, the fact that I say I'm Black means that I'm a Pan-Africanist. I'm for Black Christians, I'm for Black Protestants, I'm for Black Moors, Muslims, I'm for Black folk everywhere. But I do, in a sense, delineate and recognize that we are the supermen of the world. Yes. I'm just sorry. We are the new Egyptians. We're the Superman of the world. This whole world operates off of us. It operates off of you, because see, you you being a Black woman, you're our inspiration. You see, and whatever Black men do, we do it to please our ladies. We do it to please our women, because we know in a sense that the woman controls the bedroom.
That's
if you don't do what the hell she wants you to do, your ass ain't going to sleep that night. You're gonna keep your ass up all night complaining. So she controlled that damn bedroom, baby. A lot of people thought I was talking about something else. No, I'm talking about that. So I gotta get your ass out of there right now. Whoa!
No. Man, that's real though. And that's actually, it kind of brings me back to something you said earlier about the superpower aspect of women being able to bleed but not die. I've learned so much at the Pan-African school that I work at. Shout out to Mwalimu, because he is what I would call a Pan-African realist as well. He is a foundational Black American, even though he doesn't identify himself as such, but he doesn't have an issue with the name. He just wants us to, kind of get past a lot of the trivial things, because really we don't have to agree on what to call ourselves as long as we're all in agreement on who's owed by whom and that it's past due, so there's going to be a late fee attached.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. But I like the idea that we've been able to delineate, and not only delineate. I really think the fact, in the sense that Tariq Nasheed gave us a unique tribal name, and a tribal name that's inclusive rather than exclusive. You see, whereas if you're a Yoruba, if you're in a sense a Hausa, if you're a Jamaican, if you're from the Bahamas, Bahamian and all that, you're you're separated. See, you're separating yourself from other black folk in the Caribbean, other black people in Africa. When you say foundational Black American, when you say FBA, that means that you're black, but you're a unique black because you're that black that lives in America. That doesn't mean in the sense that doesn't just say that you're that Moorish Black American, that you're that Protestant Black American, that Catholic Black American. When you say foundational Black American, you're saying you're in a sense the original Black people that created this land. And because of the fact that you're foundational, then that makes you, in a sense, a unique Black person in the world. And see, a lot of people, they say, aha, FBA are differentiating themselves. They're driving a wedge against. No. We are the true Pan-Africanists. The only thing is that we're Pan-African realists. We recognize, in a sense, that Black people have to express their nationality wherever they live. There's nothing wrong with expressing your nationality from wherever you come from. But at the same time, you have to want to love yourself. See, you have to want to love yourself. Create so far. Create so far. I get tired of you. I'm tired of you always bringing up ish that makes me have to think. I just want to talk tonight. But anyway, Create so far. I say we got to confront the poisons of the society we live in with these good talks about history and FBA. It's like our armor, or like the special shades that enlighten us. Like the movie They Live. Yes, they live is apropos in the sense it's like when you're FBA, a real FBA, you see the world differently. You see the world as much more deeper. For example, a good example of this was when these people did the halftime at the Super Bowl, and they put so much symbolism in that halftime. And the thing is this, and they made it so black, but they made it black without people really knowing that they had witnessed a black event until it was over. You see,
it was too late.
Yeah,
it was too late. I've seen so many like TikToks and reels or shorts where it's a white person saying, if you didn't understand the halftime show, that's because it wasn't for you. And it's funny because it is for them too. I don't think that Kendrick went out there and calling white people crackers and, just all white people are bad. He didn't do that.
No.
He did what I would say American history aspect of things. When you just say what it is without worrying about how people feel, you can actually get things out. Because then I saw videos of white women saying that they remember something about 40 acres and a mule from school, and it didn't affect them, or it wasn't about them, so they didn't really associate, but they do remember the Homestead Act, and they do know that that's how their family was able to get houses, and they did know that it was on some, all you have to do is get here. And now for them to make this connection of this free land, it wasn't actually free. Y'all didn't want to give it to the people you owed, so you said, here, come occupy, and them niggas is too nice, they're not going to come take it from you even though it's theirs. We need a couple hundred years to start.
Because we played ourselves. We played ourselves in the sense is that, we became colored people. We became colored people. And because of the fact we became colored people, we played us. They hustled us. It's just like when I was younger, you would get on the bus, and then it would be somebody on the bus, and then they'll put a coin on, and then they'll be moving stuff around, a coin, and then under a cup. And then somebody on the bus would say, can I pick it? Yeah, bam. Hey, you win. And then you say, here's $10. And then you watch him do about 3 or 4 people. Then when you do it, you can't find the coin
anymore.
And so that's what it is that they're playing a shell game. They played a shell game with us in the sense is that we go along with this. We go along with this because although we are numerically, I repeat, Don't believe that ish about there's only 43 million black people in this country. That is bullshit.
Right.
Because I guarantee you, if we were the minority in this country, they would have been and killed our asses off. No, they say that so that we can not, they don't have to in a sense confront us, because you notice if they push us too far in the 1920s, when they pushed us too far, we had the shootouts, we had the riots. Okay, yeah, they burned up, you know, Black Wall Street, but they only burned up Black Wall Street after they got an airplane to drop a bomb on the brother who had the machine gun.
Right. And
if you notice, even when they had the riots in Chicago, eventually the National Guard got to come in, and the National Guard, they play their role, but they make sure they don't fuck with people too much, see, because they know you will burn this motherfucker down. See, during the 1960s when we rioted in the cities, I mean, damn, they knew what they're gonna do. I tell you, I was in ROTC, and so when I was in ROTC, on every street post in the alleys, on 47th Street all the way up to 79th, they had coordinates. So I guess so if they had to come into the city, they know where to call in and have armors, maybe shooting some artillery, all that type of stuff. I mean, then we used to talk about in high school how we was gonna we was gonna blow up and attack tanks. Yeah, everybody keep some Pepsi bottles around your house. And then when we start the revolution, get the Pepsi bottles, go to the gas station, take that mother over, and then fill the bottles up with gasoline, put in some.
Oh, he's ready.
And so we're gonna bombard the tanks. Oh shit. Of course. When you 15 to 17, you don't know nothing about no damn death. So what if you die? Who cares? I was a black man. I was a black man. The only thing you want to make sure as a black man before you die, you make sure you want to have some sex. That you had sex. But then in the 60s, we added something else. We're not going to die on our knees. We're not going to die on our knees. We're going to fight. You see? So, oh boy, they had military manuals. We had military manuals. I'm in high school, and you had military manuals. Take them home. How to blow up shit. Oh damn! I remember they used to have what do they call? It was a so-called institute. We go down there, and then they would talk about how 51st Street they had a real big police station, and see so they said that because the 51st Street police station in Chicago was near the train station. They said, y'all got to go blow up the 51st Street station, so before they could ship us on the plane, on the train, because they got what was called the King Alfred Plan, and the King Alfred Plan was it was in a book called The Man Who Cried I Am, and in the book The Man Who Cried I Am, it was about this brother who found out about the secret plan they had to kill off all Black Americans. And so the King Alfred Plan is that they were going to, in a sense, start an riot, and when we rioted, they was going to put us all in camps, because they had built all these concentration camps that they were going to hold us. And so then we were going to, in a sense, make sure that when it got started, we were going to make sure that we knocked out all the train stations. So 51st Street, it was a train station, so we had to knock that out. It was called, the Topographical Institute. That was the name of it. So I mean, oh shit.
Institute, man. They said they were going to give y'all of these schematics of the city.
Yes.
Y'all were going to go.
When you're 16, you're 16, Black Power, baby. And then you got your lady with you. Are you down, baby? Yeah. It was so beautiful. And the thing is that they had made us so that, I mean, you lived in the so-called ghetto, piss all in the damn hallways, people not giving you good jobs. I mean, damn, we didn't care. Just give us the word. And I'm in high school too. Just give me the word.
Right.
I'm in high school. I don't care. You know,
Dorabelle said, "Stop telling us secrets."
I don't. It's no secret. It didn't. It's no secret. It didn't happen. Now it's even harder for them to do it because now we live in all among them. We in all that little. We took. Okay, I'm in the Chicago area. We moved out. We moved out of Chicago and took over just about all the southern suburbs. You know, the northern suburbs mainly kind of Jewish kind of. So then the western suburbs is the only place we can find a lot of Caucasians, and we had moved in all those suburbs. So hey, so now it's really messed up because now what are they going to do? And who is this?
Right. In the chat, somebody had said,
go ahead and play it.
It was Black Laren. Black Laren, I don't know what clip you were talking about, but you made me think about this. And well.
Hi, Deidre. Ready to cook? I am. Let's do this. All right, so what are we making? We are making apples with bacon. My mother used to make this.
Your mama was a wise woman putting bacon in this.
Oh my God. Look, bacon is a spice.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we have these beautiful Iowa apples, which are in season right now. We've got some Iowa bacon over there.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many of my mother's recipes that she never wrote anything down. It was it was just a matter of watching. And so some of them I have been able to recreate. And, part of the problem is with family recipes, like my mother would not give up the family recipes. Like it was literally like, or she would say, just a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Okay, while we're doing this, I'm going to start the bacon.
That's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. That's not how you do it. You bake the damn apple. You cut out the core of the apple. Then you put some butter in it, maybe some brown sugar or whatever you want to do to make it tasty. You don't go through all that shit. Then, in a sense, if you do want to put some bacon on, you fry the bacon. Then you crumble the bacon up, put it on there. That's not how we did it. That's not how we did it.
I'm sorry, I've never had bacon on my apples. Is that's a thing?
I never had bacon on my apples.
I'm not saying that it wouldn't taste good. I can see the appeal. I've never had bacon fried apple. I've never had that before.
I didn't either. But see, the point is that we're talking about a pseudo white woman, and the thing is that if you're white, you got to have some pork, baby. You got to have some pork, and because see, a lot of us. I'm not going to tell a lie. When I was growing up, I wanted a pork chop, and I had to get a pork chop. But then the point is this: the older I got, then all other black folk, they moving away from pork, and they're going to eat beef and all that type of stuff. And everybody a half Muslim, but nobody ate pork. So I mean, you had to kind of move away from it. But what I loved is this cosplay, this whole idea of trying to make you believe that she's one of the people, Crazy so far as I love me a nice baked apple crisp for dessert. I never had bacon, apples either. No apples either. We used to have apples because see, it was three things that black people knew how to really deal with. Black people knew how to really deal with sweet potatoes, rice. They had their rice pudding, sweet potatoes, rice, and then apples. Because a lot of times those were desserts that you could use, and even during slavery. Yep. During slavery, you could get a hoe. And you put that hoe in. Put that hoe to
work. No, not that hoe. Different kind of
hoe. The hoe that you the
garden tool.
You want to get the garden tool hoe. The other hoe. But anyway, that's a different story. You get that hoe, put it on the fire, put apple on it, and just let it kind of simmer, I mean, that's how we used to make the other hoe cakes, hot water cornbread. Get some cornmeal, boil some hot water, put some salt in that sucker, then make you a patty, put it on that hoe, let that hoe get hot, let that hoe get hot, and then wait a minute, wait a minute. No, I'm not talking about that.
No.
But anyway, put that, slap that, put it on that hoe, let the hoe get over the fire, then turn it over, make it look real brown and stuff, Then if you really, in a sense, it's good. Then some people, make it fried and get some of that lard. People couldn't afford vegetable oil and all that type of stuff. Everybody had lard in the house. Everybody had a can of lard, and you would say the grease.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. I remember my mother-in-law. She used to say that grease. My mother and them, it was always a can with grease in it. My wife and us, we didn't save grease, but they used to save the grease and cook everything in it. Then get a potato. And then after you had the grease a long time, put a potato in there, let the potato, stand there for a while, and that'll clean
all them extra flavors and bits up out of there, and
all type of stuff. You had to have a little grease in everything. I mean, but then they said in the 60s that Black people had the most healthy diets. I don't know how we could have had the most healthy diet, but they said, the scientists said we had the most healthy diet in the 60s, because we had a lot of vegetables.
Yeah. And then not being able to afford processed foods because it's a luxury. And then now, processed foods are very cheap. And then, fresh whole foods are more expensive because, they flip-flop on us. The hood, the inner city area that they would stack us, and then we move away from this area that they won't put any resources into. And then now gentrification can happen, and they can put resources into it and then put who they want to have this area. And it's like, wait a minute, we were there, and y'all didn't give a damn about us when we were there, or the conditions of the place when we were there, but you want to build it up after we leave. It's always a flip-flop, when we're doing something, they're doing the opposite. They move us away from what we're doing, push us off of what we've been doing, and then we go do something else. Fine, sure, you can have it, whatever. Just leave us the fuck alone. And then we don't get left alone. So
and we lose an aspect of the culture. We would do these things, and we took these things so much for granted because everybody was doing it, but we didn't see that as being culture. Because we felt that if you were cultured, that's when you were supposed to be sophisticated, maybe listen to some classical music. That was being cultured.
Well, they also said that we didn't have a culture, even though they like our fried chicken. And then they told us watermelon was, a nigger fruit. But I'm sorry, my man's family, they have had land, and a couple of his uncles have been able to do really cool things with the land. So just having a bunch of apple trees, maybe the stores don't want to sell to you, but you've got apples for days, or potatoes for days, because you've been able to grow these things, and you're not going to starve. And then they wonder what's going on with them niggers that we let go all a little while ago, and they go and see that we're not starving,
and if you knew anybody with a house, if they were allowed, not suburban Black people, but Black people sit in the city, usually had a little garden. In the garden, they would maybe grow some tomatoes, some cucumbers, but just about everybody's garden has some tomatoes in it, some cucumbers. They might have some clover, and stuff like that. So you can see that when I was growing up, everybody had their little garden. Everybody, in a sense, had this whole idea of farming. Like my father, he even rented some land out in the suburbs, and we would go up every summer. We would go and we would cultivate, the three sisters. Not rice, corn, beans, and squash. And so a lot of times, in a sense, we had a lot of that stuff. That's what we used to eat growing up. The three sisters. Right. Corn, beans, and squash. I didn't like squash too much, but the old folks did, and they liked the hominy with some white stuff and stuff. And so then, but these were things that you knew. Whenever you went over anybody's house on Friday, they had fish, and they might have spaghetti too, but they definitely had fish. You know, chicken on Sunday. You know, I go to Walmart and you know, for the first time, you know, my mother and them used to talk about they used to eat chicken feet. And I said, how the hell they ate some chicken feet? You know, said, yeah, she said that my mother and them used to say that, you know, the preacher, they give him a thigh, give him a breast, and they get the kids, you know, chicken feet to eat and stuff. You know?
Oh man.
And so then you know, now, and do you know what? Now they sell chicken feet at Walmart. I said, what the hell is this? Are they trying to get ghetto or something? Chicken feet?
Not get ghetto. They're trying to actually show the incoming population that they're friendly to these new people. Anytime you start seeing stuff at the grocery store that you didn't used to see, it's probably because you're about to have an influx of people who are going to buy these things that you've never seen at the store before. And then, well, flash forward 10 years or 20 years or.
You know, I know just like out here where I live in now, you know, you see Latinos out here now, you know, and you know, you see them at the gas station and all of them got nice cars and stuff. And how you get the nice car? And then, you know, your daughter or son, they can't get a car because they got bad credit.
Can't get it. Look, that's something that really bothers me. And I know I shared the video with the woman who worked very hard to get her food truck to have to sell her food truck to an illegal. But how do you come from somewhere that you haven't been fact checked, verified, or anything, but you can get access to credit, which is the system that says, hey, this person can't pay their bills on time. Maybe you don't want to give them free money. Right. I don't get it. I don't get how I can't.
I get it.
I mean, I do get it. Maybe I should say I hate it. My dog died a couple years ago.
Oh,
and
no.
wanted to bury him here at the house. And I had to call the city so that I could dig in my own yard. And they said that it was because of the power line, water line, gas line. Fine. That makes a lot of sense. I don't want to dig where there's a line and then I disrupt the whatever. So then the city came out, all three companies, the gas, power, and the water, and they painted where the lines were in my yard. And it took a little while for them to do all of this. So then I couldn't actually get my dog buried in the yard like I wanted to. And the ground was frozen and just whatever. It was a bad situation. Just saying all of that to say that we can't, this is my house. This is our house. We pay the mortgage and we've got a nice little nest egg in it. And I can't dig in my own yard without a penalty or a fine because, well, you can't. But the house next door to me, I've seen people who don't speak English working on the house. And I know they don't speak English because they told me, no speak English.
No sabía inglés.
They don't freaking speak English. Maybe they just don't want to speak English to me. In the chat, Blue Bull, that's pretty funny. It's that's another poison apple. Oh, if the poison apple really is just about the information sharing, right? Eve woke up to the fact that she was naked. Snow White gets put to sleep and then wakes up, right, to her Prince Charming. We were talking earlier here in my house about who's the fairest of them all. Was there a Black Victorian queen who asked that question? And was it Catherine, maybe, or Victoria, maybe? I don't know, but there was some similarity between the Snow White evil queen story and an actual queen who said something like that. And I meant to ask you that before.
No, I don't know that. Maybe you can Google it though.
Another one though, about what we were talking about earlier, the patriarchy aspect. Mm-hmm. If we are this magical creature, then wanting to have a patriarchy kind of makes sense because it's like, well, we're afraid of this. But in my Pan-African school that I've learned so much, I learned about the Ishango bone, that how we are able to mark the lunar calendar based off of our periods from 20,000 or so years ago. And then I also learned about Queen Nzinga, who fought back against the Portuguese. So if you've got these African warrior queens, like queens, straight up queens, and they take no nonsense, then maybe when you got into power, you'd be like, yeah, no, we don't want them bitches in our competition. They do
but
things.
It wasn't any competition. Like Queen Amenorrenas. She was a heralded queen. But I mean, the thing is this is that remember, who are you going to fight the most for as a man? You're going to fight for your mama and your woman. Remember that's what it was all about. See, your mama made you go to war. And the only reason, in a sense, the only reason that men began to dominate, was because the fact, in a sense, is that when the white man came, because of the fact that the white man, when he fought wars, he always attacked you from four sides. Black people attacked from three sides. In other words, they always gave you a way to retreat. The white man surrounded you, and so then he usually killed everybody. And so then, because of the fact that we had a different consciousness, then therefore naturally we would have a different idea. For example, in a sense, is that a black man wouldn't dare back down with it. Well, I mean, even growing up in school, if sister got more boys would get their ass beat than anything on the planet Earth, because you definitely wasn't gonna back down. You ain't gonna go, nigga. You ain't gonna go fight. You ain't gonna fight, Clyde. You scary. Then everybody looking at shit. I gotta go get my.
Now you gotta go, right?
I know. I can't beat him. I know. I saw him fight. But if I don't fight, hell. Remember, women are the ones that really get us to go fight wars and all that type of stuff. Because I mean, hey, you don't want to bag down in front of your lady.
That's for sure. And then how does it look when you say that you don't want to fight, and then that group comes and takes over? Yeah. And then it's like you could have done something about it. So you can't be mad at your women for leaving you because you didn't fight for them. You didn't protect them.
The white man, he was really devious. Whenever he fought Indians, what he would do is that he would mass a whole lot of he would mass his soldiers about 2 miles from the village, and then the Indian braves would go out. We go out fight a white man, and so the Indian men would go out and fight, and then while they out there fighting, then the white man would circle around and kill the women and children, and so then the Indians, because they would go and they would attack other Indians and get them to take their women, and so then it was they never understood that. Just like in California, it was It was $5 for the scalp of a woman, $3 for the scalp of a child, but only $2 for the male scalp, because they felt if we got to get rid of these women, because see, we can have them fighting to take the women from the other tribe. So it was he was very diabolical. But the thing is, this is that we had to allow them. We allowed them to take over. We allowed them. They just like in the old days, you live in the town, so you got a village, you got your own little town, and then the white men say, hey, you Chief John. Yes, me Chief John of this my nation. They say, okay, Chief John, you can have your nation, but you in the county of Cook, and you got to pay some taxes. Me no pay no taxes. Me this my land. We know this is your land, but you got to pay your taxes. Oh, how me pay them taxes? You don't give me no job. Me got no money. Oh, but you got plenty of land. And so then they just took their land while we talking about we got our freedom as a nation, and yet our land getting smaller, 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 so we ain't got none. And then as soon as they took your land, they say, oh, those Indians don't exist anymore. It's still about 2,000 of them, but they don't have no land. See? And so the European was just like a pimp. The European always allowed us to talk ourselves into our own degradation. See, they allowed us in a sense to lead ourselves down the primrose path, because we always, in a sense, they allowed us to have that nationalism, while at the same time, in a sense, using that nationalism to take away our land from us. You see, that's one of the reasons why they don't want you to talk about being FBA. That's why they want you to talk about that you're an African. Because if you talk about you're an African, then you think, oh, well, the only land we ever had was in Africa. Okay. See, you see, but you might own land here. You know, probably some of your parents. I know you've mentioned before that your own land. You know, your ancestors own land. They just took that shit, and that was that. Absolutely. See, they didn't make treaties. They made treaties with Red Indians that they could break. They didn't make treaties with us. They just took our ish. See,
and see, you know, they could break the treaties with the Red Indian or the Yellow Indian or the not us Indian, because they didn't have ties to the land either. You know,
right.
Like this buffer class that we've been dealing with. And
they were mainly nomadic. See, and the only Indians
the buffalo.
Yeah, and the only Indians that wasn't nomadic were Black Indians.
For us, because we knew how to farm the land.
Right.
We knew the nooks and the crannies. I'm sorry. I would love, people keep telling us that Trump's going to send you Blacks back. Really? He's going to send us back? Like, is he going to give us the land back too? Because I would love to get sent back to my ancestral land of North Carolina, Virginia, because it used to be a very big piece of land. Right. And I mean, my last name is the same name as a couple cities in the country. So I know I've got ties to the land just off of the paperwork of it all. Right. And then from there, I just, I would love for more people to get with the idea that an apple a day keeps the doctor away. What do I mean? I mean, like, if you partake in the information gathering aspect, you know, you turn into the hunter-gatherer that we used to be. You hunt for the information, you gather it, bring it back, and you give it to your people. Then maybe you don't need to go to the doctor so much for preventative care, because you're taking care of these things at home. You know, you're getting the information that you need so that you don't making hoe cakes and eating chicken feet that are from a chicken on your farm is going to be way more better for you than going to Red Lobster or Ruby Tuesday or McDonald's or any of those places. And it's like, that's chicken feet. I don't even eat chicken, but I know that they tricked us, telling us it was poverty for ourselves.
Remember up to about 5 or 6 years ago, they used to put so much hormones in a chicken that a chicken breast was as big as a chicken. You know,
that's always scary though. Isn't that why they changed the name of KFC? Like, you can't call it Kentucky Fried Chicken if it's not chicken.
Right, but they had to stop feeding all those hormones because it was giving people diseases. You know, because see, it was making, you know, that's why back in the day the average girl had her menstrual period around 15, maybe 16. But then as they started giving these animals all those hormones, a lot of girls who ate a lot of meat, they started having their period 8, 9, 10 years old, you know.
Look, that's a very real thing though. It's still to this day. I had a talk with one of my students' parents, and the girl is 8 years old. So she hasn't started her cycle yet, but her mom was telling me about how she'd basically been a vegan her whole life, and she's not vaccinated, and she's always been healthy. And really, it's kind of this year specifically, this school year has been the first time the little girl's been sick, and she's trying to understand because it's never happened before. And outside of, I get that, you know, that can be very scary to have gone through 8 years with your baby, and then all of a sudden they're sick, and like, well, what do you do? Because they've never been sick like this before.
But
And
do you know why?
well, this is what she was getting to. She said it wasn't until she started eating meat, and then she's got all this mucus. And I just wonder if should I make her a vegan again? And I'm like, I don't know how you're gonna do that when
Maybe it's
some bacon.
But also she's going around Europeans. She's going.
Oh no, well no, because my school doesn't have any Europeans.
But I'm talking about when you go to the store. When you go to the store, you're going around Europeans, and it's out there. It's just like doing the when they were having the COVID-19. Remember, if they've been in a place, they could leave a trail. Remember, COVID-19, they started saying it could get in your body through your eyelids. So
right, they were right. The shedding, right?
Yeah.
You're
shedding and the aerosol in
absolutely.
The air.
We're not scientists, you guys. This is just what we observed. YouTube. This is not us telling anybody anything more than what we've observed. Please don't strike our channel tonight. That would
no, they're not, because we're not gonna name that thing. See, just like me and we did. I forgot. Well, anyway, we did a show once and we made a mistake and we mentioned that, and they took, we mentioned that thing, and they got rid of the show. So I try to avoid going there. But the thing is this though, is that it's just common science. See, that's the reason why these people, they've been wanting to kill us off. But they always want to kill us off. They always want to kill us off using some sort of virus or something like that. But the only problem is that as long as the sun isn't blocked, our melanin is going to transform that virus. See, that's one of the reasons why they don't want it. They decided they didn't want to drop a nuclear bomb, because if they dropped a nuclear bomb, unless we're right at the point of impact, when that nuclear blast go off, all it's going to do is just invigorate the melanin inside our damn body. They said, damn, if we drop a nuclear bomb, these niggas going to run the whole world.
They're going to be super powered for real. Niggas is going to start flying and turning into the X-Men that y'all don't know is us, but
See, because when they say we're the sun people, that means we're also the people that can. That's all. We're also the people who unless we're at the point of impact, we wouldn't in a sense be so affected by nuclear fallout and all that other type of shit. Back in the day, back in the 60s, when you was in the army, this is what they taught you. They taught you back in the 60s is that if it was a nuclear attack on a field and they used a nuclear weapon, cover yourself up with a blanket, stay under that blanket during the fallout. Then after they make the second sweep, then you get up and you fight on. Pow, baby. You see, that's why
they said, niggas, you got a blanket. It's fine. If that's the case, man, they need to cut the check, because the way that people keep saying, oh, the orange man's going to start World War III. I personally believe that we're already in World War III. Like it's already happening. If you didn't know, I'm sorry to have to break the news to you tonight, but it's already here. And then, well, they're gonna drop bombs. They're never gonna pay. They're trying to go to Mars. They're trying to go to space so that they don't have to pay. That Russia, China, and all of those things could happen. But
I'm so disappointed.
It's gonna keep them from writing a check.
I'm so disappointed. When I was a kid, I followed the whole space program. I used to have all those little coins and all those medallions, and then to find out, in a sense, that they claim that nobody really went to the moon, that they can't get out of the helisphere,
get out of our atmosphere.
They can't that they can't even break it. That a human being can't even break it, they would die. And so then they want to tell us they went to the moon, but then they're telling us that really you can't get through that. The physicist tells you can't get through that, and yet we still want to believe we went to the moon. I don't know. I'm so discombobulated.
It's the Truman Show, right? Some of our reality checks are gonna be interconnected, because that's how my thoughts are. And I'm sorry, the Truman Show, it was literally a whole world for Jim Carrey Truman, and then everybody in that world was specifically designed and tailored for him. the fluff characters, the main characters, you don't know this UPS driver from this FedEx driver, but they all know you. And it's so real, the observation of it all. People are watching us all the time. That's why something you might have said, I know that, and I don't, let me slow down. Something universal you might have said that was hot, and then you find out that not only was it hot, but somebody took it and ran with it, and now they're making millions of dollars off of it. And I know that you talk about the release of life and then the raining down in other parts of the world aspect of sharing information. But sometimes it is that they have little people in your rooms and spaces and listening to our shows, and then they just steal it because, them niggas is right. Let me go ahead and put my name on it before they get some money and can try to put their names on it. And then we have to fight this.
Yeah. That's why a lot of people in a sense, you know how I forgot it was a lot of people, they were stealing people's names on the internet. You know, like I remember my handle used to be Omeg98. So luckily I was able to buy it. But it's probably somebody else has got Omeg98.1 or something. No, white people buy everything. You know, they think about buying everything. And because they buy everything, then they're able in a sense to flip the script. So what is this?
It's hold, I was trying to get to this video it's right here.
But look at this, from 90 to 99, Social Security, 6,054,000 people. Well, that's okay. Maybe that's possible. 90 to 99, maybe it's possible. It's a lot of people, though, at that. But people that live to 100 to 109, 4,734,000. Wow, that's a lot. That means over 100 years old. They have 4 million people. I don't know too many. I know people that are doing great in their 90s, but not too many people over 100. But over 120, from 120 years old, people that are 120 years old up to 129, 3,472,000 people. Wow.
Now, I don't really want to interrupt our president, but just a note, this is the numbers thing, Dr. Winters. 43 million Black Americans, right? Okay, no, it's not 43 million in Black America. There's also not 3 million people in America who are in between the ages of 120 to 129. That's insanity. Number one, they would have already been on Guinness Book of Records. Like you said, white people love taking some shit, claiming some shit, and naming some shit. And then, we take a page out of their book for a moment and say, yeah, naming things, that sounds like something we used to do. Maybe Adam was Black and he did name all the animals, and then he gets to name Eve too. And then at some point, Adam's not Black anymore, and we don't name things. And then, oh wait, he is Black. Atom.
Adamu.
Right. He's on the walls. The Black niggas in Africa wrote about Atom. So okay, he's Black, and yeah, we did name things. But then I think of Dr. Short, and it's like, well, ever since niggas found out that Jesus was Black, they can't act right. So maybe we need white Jesus for people to have some decency. And I'm torn because I want decency, but I also want the math to math, and if a poison apple really just means that I don't want you to have the information, so I'm going to say it's poisonous and then hope that you don't do it because everybody bought into it. Now we're in a time where people are like, it's not poisonous, but there's 52 different types of apples native to America. And don't quote me on that number. I just threw that out. I just made that up right now, but I just know it's a bunch of different apple varieties out there. And like I said, my man has land. I've gone and picked my own apples. It's there. We've done it. You can't take people from a foreign land, put them on the land and say work the land. That doesn't work. they won't be able to do it. So I just when he's reading these numbers and he's like, yeah, I mean, I guess it's possible for over 100, sure, over 110 maybe, but 120 to 129, 3 million people. And the reason that he even gives a damn is because people don't like Elon Musk having control or a view inside of how America's been spending our money. I don't agree with that either, because he's a South African and I think that his allegiance is to himself, but he is the person with the job right now. And damn it, if they're not uncovering some shit, Dr. Winters, 3 million people are collecting Social Security.
Right. Or they put out the picture when, showing that the man was sitting next to John F. K's wife was the one who really shot him. And
right.
You say, is this video real? Is it doctored? But then, and he did a real pow. He said, pow, and then just still, and I said, damn. I said, just, the conspiracy stuff. And then, and then but they won't show that on TV. If you don't track it down, you won't even be able to find it.
And if you don't do it in the next 3.5 years, you're not going to be able to find it unless Trump gets another presidency. We joke about this in my house, but I'm going to have to say it publicly, you guys. If Trump gets rid of the IRS, I'm going to vote for him for a third term. So I know that we're not supposed to have 3-term presidents, but we used to. And then they made a law and said that we can't do that anymore. But if Trump gets rid of the IRS and also implements this ERS, it sounds like he's trying to make a way to pay the debt that's owed to the people.
But he's a tool. He's a tool sent from God to destroy America. He's going to destroy America. And see, because usually we go through, I've said this before and I'll say it again. We usually go through a process where a Democrat comes in, a Republican comes in, he messes up everything. Then a Democrat comes in, they clean it up. Republican come back in, he messes up everything, Democrat clean it up. Well, this time we had Trump, then we had Biden. And Biden, because of the fact that Biden was sending all the money over to Israel and Ukraine, he just let the country stay messed up. And so now we're getting Trump again. So then this is going to lead to a spiraling down of the so-called American civilization. Because see, the only thing that keeps America afloat is the nigga in the closet. But see, they don't have a nigga in the closet working for them anymore. No. They feel those other people from Central Europe are the brains because they're the professors at the universities. Universities have not produced nothing at all. And because they haven't produced nothing, then therefore there's no hope,
Right. I mean, my first heartbreak at university level was knowing that art that I had made, or finding out that art that I had made was not going to be credited to me. It was going to be credited to the university. And I'm like, hold up, wait a minute. Not only did I not know that you were taking this assignment and submitting it as art for an international competition, but I can't even claim it. I mean, my name's on there as a footnote because I am the creator, but I don't get credit for it. The university got credit for it. And it's these little things that people just allow to happen. And then over time, it's this really big thing that could have been squashed at the start. When you have a bad apple, you take it out of the bunch. You don't leave it with the rest of the fruit because it will spoil the bunch. But then I'm like, damn, people, are y'all really not buying fruit to see the transformation that happens when you leave fruit? And I get it. Maybe we don't have the money to just let our food go bad. So we've grown from there. But I'm sorry, the way that I see Uber Eats and people eating out, I know y'all got food at home, and I know that sometimes y'all have had to toss the food because it went bad. So if you tossed it when it went bad, did you wait for all of it to go bad, or did you notice, oh damn, this cucumber it's a little soft. Let me get it away from everything else before it messes everything else up. Or are we just letting it sit there, and then now we got to toss all of the food? And while we did have food at home, we don't anymore because we didn't eat it. So got to do something else. It's they tricked us with poverty, telling us that we didn't have, and that if we wanted to have, we had to purchase it. And now everything costs. But it's because they tricked us into buying these things that used to never cost. And I'm sorry, it's too many connections between these things for me to be quiet about it.
But as long since the European invented money, you know, like I heard some people talking about that we had to go back to the system of bartering, that we should be bartering stuff instead of using money.
We should be bartering though.
But we can't be bartering. But you can't barter. The reason you can't barter is that because the fact, in the sense, is that that's why how did the European get us to go to work in the first place?
Stealing our children and saying, if you want to see little JoJo again, you better pick this cotton.
Nope.
Saying, hey, do you want these blue trinkets that we've laid here on the beach, nice and pretty? And then you go get the trinkets, and then they swoop you up in a blanket and you tossed you on a ship.
Maybe some, but no. the way that they tricked us is that they created the idea of taxing your house. You see, that when the white man created the idea that you had to pay taxes on your house, you could own the land. But even though you own the land, you had to still pay a tax when you built a house on your land. Just think about that.
I have, because I think last week when I was telling you about what I've learned about the law, and still I'm still a baby infant in this understanding, and I get why lawyers get paid the big bucks. Shout out to my lawyers. But excuse me, it's the US Code 1994 that did it for me. And in this code, while it has a line item for freedmen, everything in that line item is redacted. But then there's a line item for Native Americans, and there's more line items. You click on that Native American link, and then it takes you to more links. You click on that link, it takes you to more links. And then inside of all of these links, there was a law. And it said, if you want to live a civilized life, that there are protections for you from the tribe that you are associated with who don't want you to live a civilized life. And, well, again, as long as you pay them taxes, we will make the tribe do what they said that they would do for the people who want to live outside the bounds of the tribe. So it's like the Amish aspect. You know, you got people living inside of the country, but they don't follow the country, but then they do pay taxes. So who's in charge if you still have to pay for the things that are yours? They're in charge. Nobody's free. It's all an illusion.
You know, and I know it was a big thing when I was looking at a lot of videos, and they were talking about when the Chinese started talking to white Americans, and then white Americans got all upset because the fact is that the Chinese, they don't have to pay taxes on their homes, and they started, because of the fact that they had cut off TikTok, and they started seeing that the Chinese wasn't living as bad as we thought. But then they forget, in a sense, is that the reason that America doesn't have all the things that a lot of socialist countries do is because of the fact that they don't want you and I to have it. And because they don't want you and I to have it, they'd rather go without. And so then it's just that that's the way it is. They'd rather destroy themselves and go barefoot rather than see you with a pair of shoes. And it's kind of very sad, you see. But at the same time, because they felt that way, we always was able, in a sense, to use their constitution against them. You see?
Hey, look, that's what happens when you put a law into practice in a language that's not yours, because the people who invented the language will be able to come in and bastardize it in a way that you didn't think possible. But then because you don't like those people, you'll try to use that against them. And now in 2025, you've got a whole racist in charge of things saying birthright citizenship is not a thing. Native Americans are not birthright citizens. They had to have a whole law written for them to become citizens. So it can't be a blanket statement thing as much as you've got two wings of the same bird fighting against each other. The bird's bipolar at this point, and
but
it's safe for us to get away from it.
I don't think there's anything in the Constitution that gives the Indian, that gave the red man citizenship.
Not in the Constitution. That's the beauty thing. That's the beautiful thing.
See, we're in the Constitution though.
We're in the Constitution. They are an afterthought in 1924. So after the 14th Amendment, 15th, 16th, 17th, all these amendments, there is a law written, and that's these U.S. codes that are these additional laws that are not Constitution, but they are laws. And to me, if our system is supposed to be checks and balances, then we need to start checking some of these things because it ain't balanced. And if we want things to be balanced, then maybe we do need to just back up and let it burn.
In a way, but not really. See, our problem is that we've never had a philanthropic group. You know, what do I mean by philanthropy?
People who don't care about themselves and want to do better for the rest of everybody else.
Right. We've never had a group that was for Black folk. You see, because that's one of the reasons why, the Constitution. It is so much we could do with the Constitution if we had real lawyers.
Absolutely. Look, if there is a wealthy Black or white in my audience, in your audience, who wants to sponsor me to go to law school, I will do the things because, well, we need somebody to do the things, and not that there aren't people out there trying and, doing it under the guise of other things. I talked with Maria about this yesterday on our show, and it was, well, first of all, she would be very mad at you for saying what you said about pork, because did you know, Dr. Winters, there's some countries on the planet that they only got pigs. That's all they got. And they got pigs and bushmeat. So, they're going to eat pigs.
But nothing wrong with them eating pig. It's just that I ate too much pork when I was growing up.
So then it's, we talked about first world problems. Mm-hmm. And a first world problem is saying that we don't eat certain things anymore and then looking down on other people who do eat these things. And I'm like, I don't know if I look down on people eating anything as much as when Tariq shared the Asians in the wilderness eating a foot. Every time he does something like that, it makes me want to unfollow him or put him on mute or something. But then I don't, because it's the exposure. Some people need to see this person eating a foot. It's not a human foot, I don't think, but it looks like a foot, and they're eating the actual foot.
Right. We had culture things. I mean, when I went to college, and so we had a lot of people there from East St. Louis, and they used to like to eat the pig nose, and that was a favorite of people in their city. When I grew up, my mother was cooking pig ears, pigtails, get some hot sauce, chitlins, and so many of us decided we wasn't eating pork anymore, but we could never get rid of the chitlins because, see, your woman would kill your ass. That used to be the Black woman, a standard meal was chitlins. If you found, looked like that was a kind of secret sauce for sisters, in the sense that none of them would fight chitlins. Your generation don't eat chitlins, but my generation and some of the other generations, that was the Black woman standard, is that you couldn't be a Black woman if you didn't eat chitlins, and beginning with my generation, a lot of people started moving away, and I know y'all. I don't think any of you young ladies like to eat chitlins because y'all definitely wouldn't want to
Nah,
to clean those things because they used to smell so bad.
booty noodles is not in my
Booty noodles.
no, sir.
Is that what they call it in Washington?
Yeah, you're gonna have to call them booty noodles because that's. But you know, oxtail, that's booty meat. I've eaten oxtails before, and I never thought about it like that until somebody told me about booty noodles, and then it's like, well, you know, the oxtail, and it's like some things you don't want explained to you. Nobody who eats hot dogs wants to know how a hot dog is made.
That's
You
right.
don't,
Right.
because as soon as you do, you're not going to want to eat a hot dog unless you're going to be one of those people who say, well, I go to the butcher and my charcuterie butcher does this with the flank of the what. Man, shut the hell
It's
up.
It's a place called Pete's Market up here. It's called Pete's Market. Damn, when they got those oxtails on sale, I'm not going to tell a lie. This is their favorite son, me. You know, and you know, but now I notice Tariq and his ilk, they talk about the fact that oxtails, you're supposed to be a Caribbean. Only Caribbeans like oxtails.
I'm not taking that. It's too many people. I'm here. I know Virginia is not like the South, but it is the South. No, oxtails is going to have to be ours. And there's a lot of things that people who infiltrated into our community because we are Pan-African in our core. Now, people might not want to identify as such. And that's your right. But that doesn't mean that I don't know that you're a person who would give the shirt off your back to a person in need because you felt bad. And I've seen that happen too many times with us. And then other people, they will go on the internet and say, I'm not here to fight with y'all. I'm not your brother. Yeah, we have melanin, but I'm here to work. I got family at home. I'm trying to get as much as I can get before I get got. And it's like, wait a minute. Oh, damn, a burning house. Our people are in the burning house. And then it's this joke that I've had for years now. When I say joke, I mean my family. I've asked my family straight up, if we're in a burning house, do you want me to let you sleep? Or will you want me to try to wake you up? But then you say, well, yeah, of course I want you to try to wake me up. What if you're a person who likes your sleep and you're one of those? Don't wake me up under any circumstance.
That's the boule.
And then when you do that, it's like my family, I've told them, if that's you, I will knock you out and drag you by your foot out the house. You be mad at me later. At least you're here to be mad at me, because at first, and that when I had this joke, or when I started using this line of thinking, it's funny to me to think about the fact that some people really will be, they'll fight you because they want their sleep. They want their sleep. They can't find sleep. So when they finally do find the sleep, it's like, God damn it, unless the house is on fire, don't wake me up. Okay, but the house is on fire. I'm trying to wake you up. It's trying to go, and you don't want to wake up. What do we do about you then? Do I just, again, you want me to let you sleep? Fine. We'll have a funeral for you.
The best example of that is reparations, originally, before Tariq made that so popular, the boule, they didn't care. They didn't want reparations. They didn't care about reparations. They wanted to be, in a sense, independent, they had that thing that James Brown used to say, I don't want nobody to give me nothing. Open up the door and I get him myself. And yet he was the syndicate was financing all his music and his companies and everything else. No, he wasn't getting it yourself. But see, the thing is, that you have to look at it from that perspective. And so this whole idea of biting a poison apple, that has always been our thing. We've always been eating the poison apple. We ate the worst animal on the planet Earth for at least 150 years, for at least 200 years, 200 years, and that was the pig.
Oh, but that's we did that because the Bible said not to eat the pig and the bottom feeders, right?
Yeah.
I love me a good lobster. I've also seen that there's a lot of different types of lobster, and that terrifies me, because if you are a person who buys lobster, maybe you buy a lobster tail, but if you don't know what type of lobster this tail came from, that's something. And maybe it's not something big for y'all, but that's something big for me, because I want to know where my food comes from. Our lobsters in America have a big old claw, and just for, I got some minis down here, but we got a big old claw. That is our lobsters. Other lobsters, Asian lobsters, Caribbean lobsters, and I'm not being funny, y'all. The lobsters that are local to those waters, they don't have that big claw. They got these arms, and when you look at the tail, they all look the same. But then, to me, it's very strange that you would sell the lobster without the whole body, unless you're trying to do something. Like, what are you doing? Trying to pass this off as something else? I don't know. Then people say, well, those are basically just roaches of the sea. And I'm like, I don't want to be thinking about eating roaches. But
do you like lobster?
I do. I love lobster. I love crab. I don't think that there's a seafood that I've had that I didn't like in any preparation.
Do you think it's because do you live around a lot of water?
I do, and
Yeah,
we talk
oh,
about
yeah.
this in my house all the time. To the people who live in the middle of the country, I feel for y'all,
Yeah.
because I think that I would be very depressed not living near a body of water.
Right.
And I don't think it can be like a lake. I think it has to be an ocean or a river or something with a current.
It's just like, it's just like when they started that whole thing about the
Just open
the
it
immigrants,
and get it.
when they had the black immigrants cooking, supposed to be cooking cats. And then, I couldn't really feel that, because I know that my father used to go hunting. You might eat some squirrel.
But you weren't eating cats, Dr. Winter. Stop that. You were not eating.
We was eating rabbits. We was eating squirrels, and I wouldn't eat my mother wouldn't let us eat possum,
because they eat
possum because they ate the people. But then the thing is this, so if they ate cats, what was wrong with that? Because see, that was something that they had a lot of in their communities. So when just like over in South Vietnam, they eat dog. I wouldn't want to see my dog.
Yeah.
We used to have a dog. I didn't want to see Zanji on the spike. What the hell is this? But
you're not lying though. It's my cousin. She did this. My cousin's bilingual, and then she used that and ran with it. And I love that she's been able to make a lane for herself, being
what
Black.
does she do? What does she do with it?
Well, she's a teacher, but she did there's a program called Teach for America, Teachers for America.
Yeah, Teach for America. They used to give people jobs back in the day.
Right. Well,
Or
right. So
pretend
in
they
that
gave people
program, you
jobs.
go and you teach English around the world, depending on where they place you, right? So then she goes to Spanish-speaking countries, because that's where, she's bilingual in Espanol. But I use my cousin as an example for this, because when she went to Belize, I'll never forget the group chat text that we got that said that okay, I guess I am forgetting it. I don't know if she said she tried guinea pig, or if it was just, she was just so surprised that people were eating guinea pig. But these were the biggest guinea pig I'd ever seen in my life. I mean, these were big, not the little guinea pig that you see at PetSmart. No, these were like straight up wild animals. And
everything grow big in the tropics.
Before she said it was a guinea pig, I just would have thought it was just bushmeat, right? Just something that they went and hunted, and maybe it's a little baby boar, baby pig, something like that. No, it was a guinea pig. She told us it was a guinea pig, and I was like, they're out here eating Wookie, because I had a guinea pig at the time, and his name was Wookie. And but then I saw the picture, and I said, no, that's not Wookie.
That's a big one.
Yes, that Wookiee done went through some changes or something. But it's the culture aspect, because still those are wild animals, not domesticated animals. And then our culture, because we've been in proximity with them and they've wanted to lay with animals the entire time, right? Now they've tricked us into, oh, it's just a dog. It's just the dog is in the bed. It's just the cat that's in the bed. And it's like, God damn it.
You couldn't find that. You didn't find that. You didn't find that in the 50s and the 60s. That's my wife generation. I remember my wife in a sense, she wanted the dog to be on the bed. And I said, I don't want that dog in my bed. She said, okay, I'm not sleeping on it either. I said, what the hell? So eventually the dog could get on the bed. And because I mean, damn, I wanted her to be in the bed with me. So damn, so the dog, could get up on the bed.
Did the dog sleep in between the two of y'all though?
No, it would
mainly at the bottom of the bed.
Yeah, the foot of the bed or something,
And that's good. I think that is a Black animal understanding. I don't know a lot of Black people who have.
But I didn't have that understanding.
It's the animal's understanding, not yours. It's the animal. They know that.
See, but you girls flipped the script. My father had lots of dogs because he used to go hunting, but they was outside and they was in the damn cold, and they stayed in the damn cold. But then in a sense, but then my wife, her generation had to get. Then they didn't want to get a real dog like a hound dog. They had to get a little toy dog.
See, and that's
cute dog. Y'all wanted them little cute dogs.
No, sir, Dr. Winters, I'm gonna have to tell you, this is one of those things where the generational divide, it matters. The trick here, your generation of women, my parents, they bought into the feeding Africa lie. And what I mean by that is, you're gonna eat all these lima beans because it's starving kids in Africa. And I know it's not about animals yet, but it's related. Because in the same form, PETA came around and PETA was like, hey, did you know that there's all these animals in these places and people don't give a shit about these animals? And look at this dog and look at this cat. So then we see it. And because we are the bleeding hearts of the world, we're like, of course that animal shouldn't be in a condition like that. Of course, if I got an animal, I would not treat it like that. And now in 2025, you go on TikTok, you can find animal pages. The page is for the animal, not the owner. The page is the animal's page, the dog's page, the cat's page. And it's so crazy to me that I'm going to make this video. I keep saying it. I'm going to tell you right now. So if it comes out after me saying this live to you and it wasn't me, it's because they stole it from this show. Yeah. But white people are afraid of nothing.
Yeah.
Nigga. And then you find that all of these animal things.
But you got me thinking. I don't know what happened. We grew up, and I saw on my Facebook about 2 weeks ago. They had a dog shivering behind a fence with ice run. I said that's how we did it. But I do not understand, because see, I don't understand how our women led to that. I don't know how my wife got into that.
Well, think about
my daughter got into that.
If you live in a housing association, which means that you's a nigga who made it, right? You was able to buy yourself up out the hood and take your family with you. You got all these rules. So while you might have had a dog outside, you've got all these rules now. And some of the rules are going to say you can't have your dog outside because nobody's trying to hear all that at 12 o'clock at night or 1 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know that dogs are just yapping just to be yapping at 1 o'clock in the morning. But I do know that my man's animals that he's had, all the dogs were outside. My dogs that I've had, none of them were outside. And the only difference is that he had a mommy and daddy and I had females. It's a bunch of women. And these women, bleeding hearts and all, you know, not only do they buy pet
My,
insurance,
my wife had a mommy and daddy, and she still wanted to keep Zanji in the damn house. Now
that's just the bleeding heart aspect.
Yeah.
When we take on their things, their thing right now is that they treat the animals better than they treat us. We see the humanity, and then we're like, oh, that's good, white people. Exactly. Let me show you that you're doing a good job by supporting it too. And then we've been bamboozled into thinking that these animals need more than what they need, as much as it should be utilitarian. My dogs are guard dogs, period. And if I guess if I were on my own, I probably wouldn't have even thought about having a guard dog.
Yeah, but you know,
I have one now because when he's gone, we need an alarm
when
the house.
When we first moved into this house that I'm in now, that you know, people would come to the door and they would say, we didn't even have a dog. We didn't even have a dog. And they would come to the door and they said, every time they would say, where's that dog that was barking? I said, we don't have a dog. But they would always say, where's that dog that was barking real? When I got up to the door, I heard a lot of barking. I said, there's no dog in here. But I guess it was.
They were scoping you out to see if you had a dog in there.
But the thing is this, they said they would hear the dog barking, you know, but we didn't have a dog barking. And the thing is, this is that I think that some of our dogs that we had, they just love the hell out of my wife. They love the hell out of my wife. When my wife died, the dogs, the cat, all of them died. They said, they said, F me, fuck you. I'm going with mama. Wherever she went, I'm gone. You know.
That's messed up. But animals do that though. I mean, I love the dog breed that we have because it's a family. I don't want to say family friendly, but some dogs, and this is all in the learning. If you get a dog, you should learn about dogs before you get a dog. But then if you get a dog and you didn't know, then you should definitely do homework. But
I think if you learn how to train, if you train a child like a dog, you'll have better children. I do really believe that.
Train a child like a dog, you'll have a disciplined child that will.
But because remember in a sense is that a well-trained dog is very cooperative and they're very progressive. And so then I think that when you think about your child, you want your child to have an aspect of being free-spirited and all that type of stuff, but you also want them to have discipline. Yeah. And so so it's that discipline that I feel is going to help your child to weather the storm down the road, you know. Because see, they had to go through so many things. I used to always tell my kids that I may let you down, but God will never let you down. So that's what I always told my kids, that I may let you down, but God will never let you down. And I said, so then you just have to be prepared for that. Because I wanted them to have something more than me. But nowadays, a lot of people, they don't know God. They can't feel God. And I feel sorry for them because I feel that God has helped me a lot. I mean, when I was running on the south side and those people shooting at me and shit and bullets flying by my head and stuff. And then the guy with me, you know, he got shot in the back. But the bullets, they just whizzed past me. Pew, 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 pew. And then I said, and then a lot of people said, damn, they said, were you in the military? No, but I said, I've been shot at many a night. But I don't know. But it's just amazing when I think about it. It's how the white man encouraged our gangs. And then the two main gangs in Chicago, they were
funded by the Catholics.
Churches at Catholic churches. You know, and now when I think back, I said, this was a diabolical government plot.
Yep.
You see those priests was really CIA and shit.
Absolutely. That is the craziest thing from these reality checks, the realizations of our stuck on stupid moments is because we've let go and let them. You know, people say, let go and let God. Okay, no, we let go and let them
Right.
go to our detriment. And now we're trying to not only course correct, but ensure that it doesn't continue to happen. But I guess that kind of brings me to the thing that I had shared on the bottom. What's up, Yoshi? Yoshi mod. Yoshi, you made me think about the Apple talking about Disney the other day. So I'm glad we were all in sync. But you see that on the bottom, Dr. Winters, with our good brother Malcolm.
You want to show that?
Yes. There we go.
Government has proven itself unable and or unwilling to defend the Negroes when they are being brutally and unjustly attacked, then the Negroes themselves should take whatever steps necessary to defend themselves. And one of the best methods by which this can be done is to establish rifle clubs. It's legal in this country to own a rifle. This doesn't mean that the Negro is going to initiate some kind of aggressive action among against anybody, but it does mean that the Negro will be serving notice that no longer does he believe in turning the other cheek and being the constant victim of someone else's brutality.
You seem to be dissatisfied with everything. Just what do you want?
I'm not dissatisfied with everything. What you are able to see with your analytical mind is that everything that is offered doesn't produce what it's supposed to produce. And I'm just telling you that it doesn't produce what it's supposed to produce.
Well, what is your ultimate aim?
The only way the problem can be solved, first, the white man and the black man have to be able to sit down at the same table. The white man has to feel free to speak his mind without hurting the feelings of that Negro. And the so-called Negro has to feel free to speak his mind without hurting the feelings of the white man. Then they can bring the issues that are under the rug out on top of the table and take an intelligent approach to get the problem solved. We need an action program while we are Muslims, or while we are Christians, or while we are whatever we are. We still need an action program that will eliminate these evils that are in our community. And this is what we're trying to do with the Muslim Mosque Incorporated.
Now,
See,
well,
see,
the
that
Muslim,
was-
go ahead.
they shouldn't have never let that man say that. They didn't know that they messed up. They messed up, Eve. They messed up because
This is
by the
delineation
time,
before delineation, if you ask me.
yeah, but it was before delineation. But usually, but in my house, but in most households, somebody had a gun. Most people came from Mississippi. They had a gun. They had at least they had, in a sense, a damn a shotgun. But after
Right.
Malcolm X started talking, then black people started getting 22 rifles and all type of shit. And so then by the 1980s, just about everybody had 2 or 3 guns in the house. So they was waiting. You know, we was waiting. We was waiting for the revolution to come.
You were waiting for the revolution to come.
Revolution.
they were-
will come.
They were telling niggas that they were lost and that they needed the church. And then inside of the church, it's like the Crusades. And then that actually made me think about something from earlier with you talking about how they were able to take over these native tribes, you know, have the warring class focused over here, and then the people who need to be protected are not protected because you out here.
Right.
And you know that I thank my parents for the private schooling education that you guys sacrificed for me to have. But the Crusades, you know, in my private schooling, all 12 years, they never talked about race. Never. We never talked about race. It was always groups of people, and then understood that these were white people. But now, with all of the information I have now, it's not white people. It's us and them. And when they got here is still foggy for me, but that the time of the inclusion, it's like why people say that a white person will go get a black person because they're exotic. We thought they were exotic.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the sulfur smell, or if it's the fact that they didn't season food but were still able to eat things, or the fact that they were sleeping with the farm animals but they weren't dying as fast as they, you know, I don't know what the exotic was that made us think, hey, or maybe it was the barbarism, the barbarian.
It was the whole idea that you were moving on up. If you could get some white thighs or get that white man dog hair, You was moving on up. It was a sign. It was a sign that you had made it, and that was what it was all about.
I'm talking about originally, because if you think about it, Oliver Cromwell is instrumental in erasing niggas from Europe. And then from there, when you talk about the Irish in American history, it is not swarthy people that we're talking about. We're talking about white people who have bushy hair like Merida from Brave. And they're not saying the bushy hair came from somewhere as much as it's just red and it's not like blonde, blue eyes.
But see, that's because people don't know history, That's just like I was talking to Shanice today, Sister Shanice. So we were talking.
Shout out to Sister Shanice.
Yeah,
she deserves some shout outs.
So we talked about an hour or so, and I was talking about the whole idea of her growing up in Britain, growing up in London, but now she lives a lot. She spends most of her time in Gambia, and so
in Gambia.
Yeah, she goes to Gambia. Then she comes. Then when it gets cold in London, then she goes to Gambia. Then when it's
warm, she goes back
to London. And so I was talking to Shanice, and we was talking about this whole idea of creativity and what we need to do and how we can move forward. And the thing is this, but remember it was this British guy. He made a video saying, y'all Afro-Americans, stop talking this stuff about giving up on the white women, because we need them we need to live off these women, And so then I thought about my brother, because my brother, they used to call him Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed.
Yeah, and so then he used to live off women when he was when he retired as a police officer, but during his young years he lived off women, So I said, but I mean, hey, the winners had the pretty, he was light skinned. He had the so-called kind of grayish eyes and shit. Not as much as my father and them, but anyway, because of the fact, in the sense that we were kind of handsome. Oh yeah, I used to be handsome back in the day. But anyway, because of the fact, in the sense is that it allowed people to get away with things that they shouldn't have got away with. You see, because a lot of times, in a sense, is that women like to have somebody nice to look at you. You like to feel that your man is not a bum. So and I mean, you want something nice to look at, it, just like a man wants a beautiful woman. But the point is this: is that it's very important to understand is that we're biting the poison apple every day, and the reason we're biting the poison apple is that we're trying to live in this man's world, and we live in this man's world by making compromises. By in a sense ignoring certain things that maybe we should pay more attention to,
Absolutely. You were saying that, and Creighton's posted what he posted in the chat, and it's all related because, being distracted by things means that our focus isn't, I hate to sound like Kamala, but if we're distracted, then we're not focused on things that we need to be focused on. But in 2025, when so many of us we're not in accord, but we are in agreement. Mm-hmm. Our family hasn't been to Africa, and maybe they haven't done the paperwork check. They don't actually know when or how long they've been in the space that they've been in, but they know that it's been at least 100 years, 200 years, 250 years. And then from there, while we might not all agree on what to call ourselves, we've all gotten into agreement very quickly that we are somebody. Yeah. Now, who we are is okay. You don't worry about that. You can't pronounce it anyway, but you will respect it, because without this, you wouldn't have any of this. And the fact that you've got the Boule, the buffer class, tethers, and white people all saying the same thing, that there's this group of people that have been disenfranchised, ignored, and perpetually left out of the conversation on purpose because they will think about everybody else except for themselves. Yeah. The apple we want them to keep eating. Eat that poison apple, because You ain't ever gonna get better, and we're gonna get better. You not gonna get better, but we're gonna be fine.
And see, that's why 2024 was so important, because Black people said, I think I'm gonna sit this one out. I don't really give a damn. And see, they are still upset because of the fact we said we don't give a damn.
Right.
Y'all go in, y'all do y'all thing, we do our thing.
Right.
And it scared the hell out of Crazy Fire said, them white thighs seems like a lot of Black famous men wrecked themselves on the path. Kanye is a great example. They seem to associate money, the fame. I got to have me some white thighs. That's right, they do. But the whole point is this: is that I know my wife's sister. You know, she was her sister married this Black athlete. You know, but when he was younger, he was married to white women. But then when he lost all his money, he came back home.
Yeah, you need that 50-50.
Stay your ass away. Stay over there. But no, once you lose that money, as I tell people, a white person cannot love you. I wish I didn't had to say that, but because of the fact they've been taught that you're the worst thing on the planet Earth, that you're worse than a piece of shit, that they should disrespect you, that you're not that you're worthless. They can't marry you, they can't love you. They can marry you, and a lot of times, I mean, look at these brothers. They do real good with these white women as long as they got money. But when that money is gone, when they don't have that money and that soft life, then that white woman is going to flee, you know. And so then, but the point is this: but then they can find a sister. Then you're worth something. Then they're looking for a sister that they can have, so they can still have a woman. But I mean, it's just terrible. It's terrible. And the thing is this: is that I used to be a Black athlete. I was an athlete in college. But the point is this: is that I always wanted to be with Black women. You know, I didn't want a Latina. There wasn't a lot of Latinos around back in my day, but I didn't want a Latina because everybody, a lot of the brothers, a lot of the sisters. I want to marry. This is even when I was a teenager. I want to marry a Puerto Rican. I want to have babies with nice hair. You know, so there's always, a lot of sisters still wanted Puerto Ricans or some Latino. But again, if you notice though, per capita, you don't see a lot of FBA women marrying, whites. So that's still kind of true because whereas a lot of the tethers, they can really divorce themselves from the idea that there's a difference. Look like they don't see that these people can't love them, and that's interesting to me.
It's probably because of proximity too. If you come from a Black nation and you don't actually see the man in control of things, then it's exotic all over again. It's the repetition for me. Where these things that people think are brand new instances and occurrences are not brand new at all. They're a test. Have you niggas grown? Have you gotten more focused? Are you paying attention to what you need to be paying attention to? Or are you still distracted by the shiny pebbles on the beach? And then, if that's you, then maybe that's why you're in the predicament that you're in right now. Because while the government owes us a check, it's up to us to do the repair. You can't expect people who break things to repair things. It doesn't work like that. Right. You're not going to take your car to a mechanic who keeps breaking it and paying for it.
I had a mechanic like that, is that back in the day, we had a station wagon and he would fix it, but then he would set it so it would break down. So after a while, I had to find a new mechanic.
You're going to have to, because they know it. Look, it's just like the doctors. They know enough to get you where you need to get to. They know enough to get your car to be an A to B car. And then they also know more that they can soup your ride up to go from 0 to 60 in a matter of nanoseconds. But fix the transmission for real, not for what they're going to get paid for it, unless it's going to come with, they have a guaranteed method of making you come back. You're going to go back to the place that broke your shit because you're going to want them to fix it. And then if they know how they broke it, then of course they're going to be able to fix it. And then they can break some more shit. And then you're just going to keep going.
So, and when you got a street mechanic, that's what they'll do. They'll fix your car long enough. Then you just eventually have to break the cycle where you say, I'm not gonna deal with this person. But again,
street mechanics are the doctors and all of these professionals that they keep telling us that we have to outsource for. You know, they're taking a play out of our book in Hustling 101, you know, Street Code 101, and then giving it back to us in a way that we're accepting it because it's familiar. You know not to go to that mechanic because people around you have used him before. And while he might be good to get you out of a tight spot, that's not who you're going to rely on to actually fix things. But, you know, people not making connections is why Donald Trump is the president and Kamala couldn't win against a full-fledged racist in a time where we're supposed to be very diverse and inclusive of things. It's so strange.
You know, Create So Far says that even worse, these hood black dudes shacking up and getting in on exclusively white trash women, heavy-set white gals in the hood alongside them acting like wiggers. But again, a lot of them get a lot of them get girls who are the ones that go to college. They get a slut too. But see, like I said, it seems as though every white girl knows how to perform oral sex good, and so they get the brothers, you know. And so I'm not sisters try to compete, but they just can't compete with those.
Look, we learn how to talk back. They learn how to do things.
Yeah, anyway, we won't go there. But the point is, that's their way. And I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. What did Tupac say?
He said he ain't mad at you. That's right. That's right.
But again, but again, family, you know, there's consequences when you bite the poison apple. You know, I want to thank you guys for showing up and remembering the sense is that you know, I'm doing my research class. So if anybody want to join my research class, you can join. You can go to Gumroad.
Link. All right, tell me.
Gumroad.com. Go to Gumroad, look up Clyde 98 and go to Gumroad.com and you can join my my research class.
Afrocentric Research Course.
You will learn how to interpret anthropological, historical, legal, genetic, and other forms of research literature. This is 30 hours of learning how to do qualitative and quantitative research methods. The course begins on April 16th. The class will be taught every Tuesday for 15 weeks. Join Dr. Winters' research class. Afrocentric Research Course. Become a researcher.
Hey. You know, so again, you can join the class. You know, we've already started, but we haven't moved that advanced yet. So anybody can join, and just go to Gumroad.com, look up Clyde Winters, and join the course. If you know, if it's you and your significant other that want to, you know, you can pay for two. If it's your boyfriend, they can sit in the class too, as long as one person is paying the $599. It's okay with me. And the beauty of it is that a lot of people have taken my class. Now they're writing books and articles and things like that.
Yes.
So I'm very excited about that whole idea. So if you want to join my class, check it out. You know.
Absolutely. And I posted the link in the chat, Clyde98.gumroad.com. You know, if you're not going to support the people who are doing the things, then you shouldn't say anything about anything, really. You should just eat it. Eat the cake, anime, and then, well, maybe I guess eventually you'll learn how to make something else that works for you. But I think it's great that people are learning how to do research, because Wikipedia is not scholarly research.
But have you noticed they made it? They made it so that now they made Wikipedia the standard source. It's really amazing. You know,
It is
since
amazing.
the pandemic, you know, they made that
it's insane. I've had papers, not my own papers, but I've seen papers from teachers that I've had, professors that I've had that got zeros because they used Wikipedia as a source.
But they won't do it now. Now they allow it. Now they allow it.
Well, look, if you're in my classes, I will give you a big fat zero because you're going to show me you know how to use an encyclopedia. And while the information might be dated, you're also going to show me you know technology because you're going to show me the update.
That's right. But I remember a time back in the day when I was growing up, just about every black home at least had one encyclopedia.
We used to get them. My parents had Britannica, all of them, every A through Z, and then the updates. And man,
at least somebody in the building had some. My mom had bought that too, and bought the books, dictionaries, and all that type of good stuff. But again, you know, you guys, if you're interested, join my my research class. It's every Tuesday, and you know, it's $5.99. But if you want to join and you have a significant other, they can sit in the class too. You know, the only thing is that you know, if you want to really learn and you apply yourself, because I'm really proud of many of the people that took my class, because they're doing a lot of great stuff today. They're writing books. You know, a good example is Sister Shanice, even Reverend Matthews. So then, you know, so it's something that you can think about. Also, support Tom 5.
Free your mind, let it go to the top, drop it to the floor. Hey, energy, coming like water, spring water, let it go. Free your mind, let it go. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, let it nigga know. Let it nigga know. Energy, coming like water, spring water, let it grow. Free your mind, let it go to the top, drop it to the floor. Energy, coming like water. Tap in, go, let a nigga know, ayy. She told me go and put it in her heart. I told her I don't wanna break it all apart. Let me be a night light in the dark. Hey, my nigga shine bright with the art. Gemini 2-time, know it's hard. Got the stars on the line with the charts. Big dog, so I gotta leave a mark. Free your mind, cause I'm not that smart, ayy. Energy, coming like water. Spring water, how did that grow? Free your mind, let it go. To the top, drop it to the floor, ayy. Energy, coming like water. Spring water, how did that go? Free your mind, let it go. Tap in, go, let it nigga know. Hey, let it nigga know.
What's up, everybody? It's Eve. Follow me on Twitter and YouTube for space recordings and special live programs. 2024, we're doing things a little different if you haven't peeped game by now. So yeah, this is your chance. You can do it now if you want. Hit the bell here on YouTube at JustEveB, or find me on X at Justice4JustUs. That's JUSTICE, 4 JUST_US. And if you feel so inclined, support my channel and the work we do over here. The Cash App and Patreon links are in the description. Black first.
Buy my book, Nationality and the Law. In this book, we discuss the importance of race and identity among many African Americans. I explore the genesis of the so-called blacks from an ethnogenesis of Black Irish, Black Aboriginals, and Sub-Saharan Africans. In this book, you will understand how they were separated into two races and why we call, in a sense, the Caucasian race the white race today. Buy my book, The Nationality and the Law. You'll enjoy it.
Supplemental learning for your mini. But you can learn too. Don't send your mini into the belly of the beast unarmed. Courses, practical math, language, the code, our story, and more. an institution founded by us, dedicated to us and our fight for justice. Here you will learn ways to combat the system using the same information they are trying to keep away from you. Welcome to FBA Sunday School.
Buy my latest book, History and Cultures of Black Aboriginals in America. This is the first book that explains and discusses the entire history of how the original people who lived in the America were Black Aboriginals. These Black Aboriginals lived in many different tribes. They built stone pyramids. They built great cities. They built underwater bridges that linked both sides of the Mississippi River. Buy this book, History and Culture of the Black Aboriginals. Find out how many of us, most of us, just about all of us, who are Blacks, native to America, have Aboriginal ancestors. Get this book. Learn about our history. Learn about your culture. Our identity and our culture as Black foundational Americans. Yes, yes. Wars between Black Indians and whites were manufactured to produce Black slaves for whites. The English, the French, and the Dutch provided the Native Americans with guns, rum, and cheap goods to purchase Native American Indian slaves. Between 1670 and 1720, many Black Native Americans were enslaved. The Black Native Americans were sold into slavery throughout the 13 colonies, Mississippi Valley, Canada, and the British West Indies. The majority of Black Native Americans sold into slavery by whites and Indians. Slave traders were the Choctaw, the Yamasee, and other Carolina tribes. Yes, yes. Many of these tribes, like the Mandi, Mandinga, many of these tribes, we've lost their names. And their names have been lost to history because of the fact, in a sense, that when the European came, as he conquered these Black Indians, he just made them slaves. And so over time, in a sense, their nations disappeared. Over time, in a sense, their history wasn't recorded. Over time, they were even able to deny that Aboriginal Blacks even existed in America. They wanted to give our Aboriginal ancestors gifts. And the only problem with the gifts that they gave us was that often these blankets that they gave us carried smallpox. Yes, diseases. They also, in a sense, gave us another gift, rum. Fire water, and this rum caused an addiction among us. In a sense, it led to a demand for guns because it incentivized Indian slave trading. Yes, the first slaves sold in America were Indians, Black Indians, selling other Black Indians to Europeans to work on their cotton, not on their cotton plantations, their tobacco plantations, their rice plantations. Yes, yes, yes. We sold each other over here, just like in Africa, because of the fact is that we failed to understand that we are one, we are one, we are one. We should be united based upon our identity and our culture as Black foundational Americans. Yes, yes. Reparations, baby, reparations. We deserve reparations. We deserve reparations like yesterday, not just today. No, not just today. We deserve our reparations. Give us our money, baby. Cut the check.
Cut the check, Black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough, it's time for resilience. Cut the check, Black first because it's brilliant. People talk too much. Say less, remain on cold, follow the spirit. When the going gets tough.
The only thing that can save you is be one, be one, be one. To fight Cage, you must stay Black first.